lack of great titles and scientific training was more than compensated for by his burning inquisitiveness and an amazing capacity for work. 250 years ago, a common haberdasher looked into a new, mysterious world inhabited by the smallest living creatures for the first time. The self-taught researcher's name was Antonie van Leeuwenhoek. Antonie van Leeuwenhoek was born to the family of a basket master in the small Dutch town of Delft on the 24th of October, 1632. He didn't show a special gift for schooling, and at the age of 16 he became a shop assistant in a linen draper's shop in Amsterdam. 6 years later, Anthony returned to his native town and set himself up in the business as a draper. After the death of his first wife, he remarried and started a family. To keep a big family, Leeuwenhoek agreed to be a doorkeeper in the town hall. He spent all of his free time on his passion, observing objects through a magnifying glass. He examined everything from sheep's wool to the wings of flies and to the tails of tadpoles. To obtain a better magnification of objects, Leeuwenhoek decided to learn to make lenses himself. For 20 years, this semi-literate seller of fabrics ground lenses during his spare time in order to engage in his hobby. His neighbors laughed at this crazy fanatic, but he was able to make lenses the size of a small pea that magnified 300 times. At that time, the best lenses made by other masters gave only a 20-fold magnification. Leeuwenhoek put the objects he wanted to study into holes below his homemade lenses, using special plates equipped with holders for fastening his tiny specimens. He made new microscopes for new objects, and by the end of his life he had accumulated hundreds of devices. The obstinate draper worked randomly, unsystematically. Anything that caught his eye he would examine through his lenses. A piece of beef, the eye of a fly, a drop of his own blood. He saw things that no person on the earth had seen before. Erythrocytes in blood, fibers in muscles, the faceted structure of a fly's eye. But the scientific world of the 17th century gave Leeuwenhoek no credit because he didn't know Latin, the lofty language of science, and spoke only Dutch, the language of the common people. But it was ignorance that saved the inquisitive haberdasher from reading the scientific papers of that time with their false assumptions. Leeuwenhoek examined the microscopic world firsthand and drew his own accurate conclusions. There was not a more obstinate and distrustful man on the earth than Antonie van Leeuwenhoek. For 20 years, the amateur naturalist Antonie van Leeuwenhoek worked quite alone. That is, until 1673, when Reinier de Graaf, a corresponding member of the Royal Society of London, learned about the haberdasher's microscopes. Leeuwenhoek exchanged letters with the London academicians regularly. They were not the usual serious scientific tomes his correspondents were used to. They were written in colloquial Dutch, full of venomous complaints concerning his ignorant neighbors and verbose reports about his own health. However, along with the ranting came stories about amazing new discoveries made with the help of his magic lenses. In the spring of 1676, a sudden idea occurred to Antonie van Leeuwenhoek. He decided to look at a common drop of water through the microscope. He was astonished to find veritable colonies of small creatures seemingly at play in what he assumed would be a perfectly clear drop of water. In his next letter to the Royal Society, Leeuwenhoek called these creatures trifling little animals. In this way, the half-educated doorkeeper from a small Dutch town discovered the fantastic world of microbes. On the 15th of November, 1677, in the Royal Society of London, the scientists observed whirling small creatures through a microscope and cried out, "This man is really a great researcher." The Royal Scientific Society accepted the haberdasher into its ranks and awarded him a diploma, presented in a silver box with the coat of arms of the society on the cover. Leeuwenhoek answered them, "I will serve you faithfully until the end of my days." He kept his promise, providing London with a unique blend of inane chatter along with the important scientific discoveries until his death. Leeuwenhoek went on finding little creatures literally everywhere. In the water of city channels, in the bowels of a frog, even in human excrement. Studying his own body, he was the first to observe erythrocytes and spermatozoa. He found a whole menagerie of little creatures in the plaque on his own teeth. Leeuwenhoek had excellent health. The only thing that troubled him was that he felt a little jaded in the mornings after drinking bouts, and he treated himself with hot coffee. At the age of 80, Leeuwenhoek lost his first tooth. Of course, he didn't miss an opportunity to examine it under the microscope. Even on his deathbed, the 90-year-old Leeuwenhoek scrupulously fixed the extinction of the life in his body. The naturalist refused to sell any of his microscopes, no matter how generous the offer. He was flattered with the admiration of the people who visited his laboratory. Among them were the English Queen and the Russian Tsar Peter I. All came because they wanted to see what new world of minute creatures the brilliant, self-educated Antonie van Leeuwenhoek had discovered.